you have to be hugging. Good. Expert. Do you want to do one more up there? Yeah.
That was some fine lettering. Eddie Hillesum is a Dutch writer of journals and reflections, a Jewish woman, and her writings have meant a lot to me and to Leah through the years. Time and again, I have had to learn how spacious the heart can be, and time and again, I have had to reclaim that space.
Wherever you happen to find yourself, be there with your whole heart. If your heart is elsewhere, you won't give enough to the community in which you happen to be, and that community will be the poorer for it.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to First Parish Church of Groton. I'm Mary Jennings. My pronouns are she and her. I live in Groton, and I've been a member of the church for 22 years. I keep track of that because that's how long Leah's been here, and that's when I joined the church. I currently serve on the Leadership Development Council. We are a community seeking to deepen spiritually, to take care of one another, and to be a blessing to the world. Unitarian Universalist is a faith for all. So bring all of who you are, all of your beliefs, identities, abilities, challenges, and gifts. Bring all of what you've been and all of what you've done. There is room for all of it. Our congregation includes a wide diversity of beliefs. We invite you to freely translate the language you hear today. If you are visiting for the first time today, whether here in person or online, we're really glad that you found us. If you'd like more information, email us at welcome@uugroton.org. We are not concerned about noise during the service and hope you won't be either. However, the service is audio broadcast, and there are several places downstairs if anyone needs to take a break. The soft pouches in each pew have quiet toys in them, and there are 2 nurseries with toys through the door here, and you're welcome to take kids there as well. We do have religious education today, and we will sing kids downstairs in a little while. Regarding the COVID restrictions, there is a small masks required section in the back on the parking lot side over there for those who prefer to sit with other masked people. And please know we have a very effective air filtration system running. We are once again hosting virtual church gatherings on Zoom at 7 p.m. on Sunday evenings. All are welcome. If you need the link, email us at welcome@uugroton.org. Special thanks to Melissa Wood, who is filming this morning, and to the adult choir. Kathleen Callahan and Lisa Geralalama and Cole are ushering today. They have large print lyric sheets and assisted listening devices. If you need anything during the service, they will be happy to help. A few announcements. Please join our Black Lives Matter vigil today and every Sunday at 11:30 on Main Street in front of the church. Next, all are welcome to come to coffee hour in the vestry, which is the big room beneath us. Okay. Lee and Aaliyah will be there to greet you. Thank you to the Welcoming Committee for making this happen, and please support them with offers to help. During the committee meeting, we are hosting part 2 of our annual committee fair. Last week was a great success, and we hope this week's will be too. Some of the committees are described in the insert in your order of service. They will have someone downstairs who would love to chat with you about the work of the congregation. Some other announcements. Donations for City Reach will need to be at the church by November 19th. There's an insert in your program about City Reach and the donations needed. And finally, starting next Sunday, November 20th, we will begin collecting items for Emily's holiday program in Fitchburg. At this time, Emily anticipates needing 50 hats, pairs of socks and gloves, also gift cards and hand warmers. So thank you. We have learned through the pandemic that our sanctuary is not this room or any place at all. Sanctuary is what we create together. Please come in and rest for a while. You're so welcome here. Now, please let's stand as we are able. Take a moment to wave to the camera and say hi to the virtual congregation and also greet each other personally.
You gotta jump a little bit. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. We're so glad you're here.
And let's sing the opening hymn, Unitarian, which is number 1032 in the blue hymnal. This song of peace is the post-9/11 creation of a Muslim residing in the United States, Samir Badri. Mr. Badri met Jewish composer Ted Warmbrown when they both spoke at a peace rally in Arizona, and Mr. Badri commissioned Mr. Warmbrown to set the words to music. Sean and the choir will lead us.
Yeah, let's play sync this through twice. And maybe what I'll play it through once, right? So you can hear the melody, and then we'll sing it twice. Got it?
I want to just read you the translation of the words of that song as we ring our three bells. Let us live in peace. Let us live in inner peace. Let us weave our dreams together. Let us die in peace. So the three bells at the start of worship invite us to settle into our bodies more fully, to settle into that inner peace, to remind us that we are whole and we belong wholly upon this earth, and we are held in the love which holds all things. So with each bell, I invite you to breathe in and breathe out. In addition or instead, you might tighten your hand and open, or close your eyes and then open them. Just a little gesture of opening to let the blessings come. So this first bell is for you. And the second bell is for all of the ones you love. And And the third bell is for our aching, beautiful world.
If you are with us remotely, I invite you to get a candle or a chalice and light it as we light our common chalice in the meeting house. The idea of the flaming chalice grew from Unitarian Service Committee during World War II and is a symbol of trust, courage, and support for one another through resistance to oppression and tyranny. Ed McNerney, who is the chair of Lee's internship committee, will light the chalice this morning.
Shaw's grocery store donates holiday dinners to individuals and families that need them. A few years ago, I volunteered to pick up and deliver one to a family that had no transportation. I went to the meat counter as instructed and said I was there to pick up a Christmas dinner. I remember that I intentionally did not say, for someone else. It didn't matter. And if the person getting the meal thought it was for me, that was fine. That phrase, someone else, is important. And it's also incorrect because someone else doesn't exist. The other invents a distinction that splits us in two, creating a space for judgment and assessment. It allows us to label and categorize others and to sort them into those worthy of our attention and compassion and those who are not. But it is the act of compassion that matters, the action we take regardless of the recipients. What was important that Christmas was Shaw's act of compassion, not to whom it was directed. Worship leaders sometimes like to ad-lib a bit, and I always deviate from the script at the end of candles of celebration and concern. The script ends, what touches one of us touches us all. I always end with, what occurs to one of us occurs to us all. Because it is the act or event itself, not just its effects, that we all experience, and it changes all of us. Compassion for anyone is compassion for everyone, even to ourselves. I light the chalice this morning for the compassion we all give and we all receive.
That young Dutch Jewish woman, Eddie Hillesum, wrote, "Ultimately, we have just one moral duty, to reclaim large areas of peace in ourselves, more and more peace, and to reflect it towards others. And the more peace there is in us, the more peace there will also be in our troubled world." Each Sunday, we light a peace candle to remind us that Ukraine is still at war, as are Myanmar, Libya, Syria, and there is violence in so many places across the globe. We light our peace candle to remind ourselves of our commitment to work for peace within ourselves so that we can reflect it to others. And Cole McCaddy is going to light the peace candle this morning. So let's sing our response to all of this lighting. We sing Carolyn McDade's Spirit of Life, first in Spanish, translated by Reverend Lilia Cuervo and Erwin Barrios, and then in English, and the words are in your order of service.
Great. Rose, do you want to come hold our book this morning? And I'll invite everybody who's feeling like being close, young people and anyone else who feels like being close for our time for all ages this morning. Come on up. Lars, you can do whatever you want, man.
Thank you so much. Come on up here. This story has beautiful pictures that you are going to want to see. Hi, Mason. Hi, Noah. Hi, Max. Hi, Zoe. Hi, Abigail. Ooh, good job. Hey, Sophia. Hi, did you bring a friend with you?
Her name is Giselle.
Hi, Giselle. It is so nice to have you with us. Hi, Kalani. Hi, Zoe.
We have two Zoes
We have
up
two
here.
Zoes. Hi, Sam and Toby.
All right, y'all, we're going to say our opening words and gestures. If you don't know them, just look around. They're not too hard. We are, you gotta watch a bit because I can't do it. Okay. Unitarian, Universalists. Okay, we got minds that think,
Hearts that love, and hands ready to help.
oh yeah.
Larsie likes
Marcy
that.
likes the hands part. So I just got back from this retreat that I go on every year to this really hard place. And I know it doesn't sound like very much fun, but I go every year because I make a promise. I make a bunch of promises, but the big one I make is to notice and like to pay attention to how every single person matters, to how every single person is different, and to listen to who they are when they tell me, and to really listen. Right? And this book is also about somebody who made a promise. In fact, it's called The Promise. The words are by Nicola Davies, and the pictures are by Laura Carter. So Rose is going to show you these great pictures. You got it? All right, let's go. So it starts on maybe a couple pages in. Yeah. You'll notice how the color changes a lot in this book. It's kind of interesting. There we go. That's the title page.
There we are.
That's it. Oh, one more even. So many title pages. It's like 4 title pages.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. So, when I was young, I lived in a city that was mean and hard and ugly. The streets were dry as dust, cracked by heat and cold. It was never blessed with rain, and a yellow kind of grit flew around constantly, scratching the buildings like a hungry dog.
That does not sound like a nice place to be. Now, I have been to places like that, but not all cities are like that, are they? There are beautiful cities and there are beautiful places in every city. But in this city, nothing grew. Everything was broken and no one ever smiled. The people had grown mean and hard like their city, and I was mean and hard too, and I lived by stealing from those who had almost as little as I did. My heart was shriveled as the dead trees in the park. Oh. And then, one night, I saw a small, older person down a dark street. Do you see? Right there? They looked frail and alone, and their bag was fat and full. But when I tried to snatch the bag, they held on with the strength of a hero. To and fro we pulled that bag until, at last, they said,
If you promise to plant them, I'll let go. What did they mean? I don't know, and I don't care. I just wanted the bag. So I said, all right, I promise. And they loosened their grip at once, and they smiled at me. I had just tried to steal something, and they smiled at me. I ran off without even looking backward, and I was just thinking about the food and the money in that bag. But when I opened it, it was full of acorns. Only acorns. Do you guys know what acorns are? They're like the little seeds from an oak tree.
and they look like they have a hat.
They look like they have a little hat. Exactly. Yeah. I stared at them, so green and so perfect, and so many in this bag. And then I got it. I got the promise I had made. I held a forest in my arms. And my heart changed.
Somebody has lost their way. Is it me?
I forgot the food and money.
Oh, thank you. I forgot the food and money, and for the first time in my life, I felt so lucky. Rich beyond my wildest dreams, I slept with the acorns as my pillow, my head full of leafy visions. And in the morning, I began to keep my promise. I planted those acorns beside roads, at rotaries, among rubble and ruins and rusty railings, by train tracks and trim lines and traffic lights, in abandoned parks and gardens laced with broken glass, and factories and shopping malls, at bus stops, cafes and apartment buildings. I pushed aside the mean and the hard and the ugly, and I planted and I planted and I planted.
Woo. So many plantings. Nothing changed at first. I mean, when you first plant a seed, right? You ever look and stare at it and nothing happens for a while, right? The gritty winds still scratched at the parched streets, and the people scowled and scuttled to their homes. But slowly, what do you see? Little green shoots began to pop up. And then we figured out there were trees. First here and there and everywhere. I think maybe next page. There we go. Yeah, there they are. People came in the streets to see, and they touched the leaves of the trees, and they had tea together by these tiny, tiny trees, and they talked and they laughed, and pretty soon other people were planting trees and flowers and fruits and vegetables. And they planted in parks and gardens, on balconies and rooftops.
Does this city look a little different now? Yeah. Green spread through that city like a song, breathing into the sky and drawing down the rain like a blessing. But by then, I was already far away, planting in another sad city, and another and another and another and another. And last night, in a lonely alley, someone fought me for my sack of acorns. What do you think is going to happen?
These pictures are so intense, there's like one word on each page. Look at them. Wow. Okay, there's the person planting.
So what do you think? What do you think this is? What's going to happen? What do you think this person is going to do? I smiled, and I made the old bargain, knowing how a heart can change, and knowing that my planting will go on. I think the person gave that bag of acorns to the one who was trying to take it
Yep.
and said, I'll give it to you if you make a promise. And the promise is to keep on planting.
Yeah. So this person was like a stealth gardener. Stealth, somebody who does like something by surprise, right? And nobody knows they're doing it. Actually, we have a stealth gardener in this congregation. They admitted this to me yesterday. I'm not going to tell you who it is. Like a surprise gardener? A surprise gardener. We have somebody in our congregation who goes around planting flowers where nobody knows they're planting. So it's kind of fun, we were thinking, like, to make something more beautiful, like a surprise. I don't know, I was thinking about maybe when people paint rocks and hide them. You ever find like a painted rock outside?
Yeah.
That's like
At
that,
my
right?
school.
At your
There's
school?
there's these notes in my on rocks, and then we
Yeah.
pick them up and read them, and then leave them where they are.
I love it. I love it. Or you could like draw a picture of a flower and stick it in somebody's coat pocket when they don't know who put it there. What else could we do that was like a surprise like that? We could clean up a bunch of trash and nobody knows who did it. It's fun. Anybody else have an idea? Yeah? No? Jonas? No?
Put an acorn in their pocket.
You could put an acorn in someone's pocket.
Has anybody ever seen fairy houses in the woods? People make little tiny fairy houses. Those are like surprise beauty, aren't they? Yeah, who had their hand up a second ago?
That was Kalani.
I went somewhere and I saw a lot of fairy houses.
You saw a lot of fairy houses. Can you imagine making one somewhere along a
We made
path?
one at our house.
You did?
We made a fairy.
Oh, so you have a fairy garden at your
But
house,
now
yes,
there's
Zoe?
too much grass, and now we can't take it.
It's just hidden now. It's just a real surprise.
Yeah, they can
Yes,
do that.
Zoe?
The fairy come to Kanani and she lost it too.
The fairy came to Kehlani because she lost 2 teeth.
I love it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, the tooth fairy is kind of like surprise
Kind of
beauty.
like surprise
money.
beauty. Yeah,
Sometimes.
I know.
Yeah. All right, y'all are going to go, if you're going to go to RV, this is the time for that.
Yes.
And we'll send you downstairs, and Cynthia will come get the chalice for bringing. Thank you, Rose. That was awesome.
We're going downstairs. Let's go. Bye, Mom. Bye.
So just because I haven't properly introduced myself yet this morning, I'm Lee Kinvey. I'm your deeply grateful intern minister, and my pronouns are they, them. Hanna Senesh was born in Budapest, in Hungary. She immigrated to Palestine, lived on a kibbutz, wrote poetry, and then joined a paramilitary group. She made her way into the British Army and trained as a paratrooper so that she could then be an undercover operative in her home country of Hungary and help rescue Hungarian Jews who were about to be deported to Auschwitz. In 1944, Hanna Senesh parachuted into Yugoslavia, behind enemy lines, and crossed the border into Hungary. She got caught, and she withstood extreme torture and never divulged any information about her comrades or her activities. She was executed, and she refused to be blindfolded. She was 23 years old, and she is a national hero celebrated in Israel for her bravery and for her poetry, which is very widely known. She wrote this song, this poem called A Walk to Caesarea, also known as Eli, Eli, a year before she died, and it was set to music by an Israeli composer the year after she died. So this is the most common song sung at Yom HaShoah, the Holocaust Remembrance Day in Israel every year. It's in your teal hymnal, your blue hymnal, number 1044. And I believe our adult choir and Sean are going to lead us in this beautiful tune. Yeah, let's do it twice. Yeah.
So let's begin in spoken prayer with words written by Rabbi Rami Shapiro. We are embraced by arms that find us even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us even in the midst of falling. We are urged on by eyes that meet us even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. So let us sit and breathe together and give thanks for the rain, for this soft gray morning that we are alive for, and for all of the good in our lives. And let us sit and breathe together and hold in love all who are in need, all hungry and hurting. In our own community, we pray for Ella, who is recovering from RSV, for Steve and Gail. Steve is home on hospice now, that they may be comforted. For Ellen's granddaughter, Molly, undergoing hard cancer treatment. And for all whose grief is still so new. For Diane and Karen, for Morning Star, Kara, Betty, and so many others in our community. I ask for your prayers for me. I will be trying to get through the holiday season without coffee, wine, or chocolate. This is my doctor's orders. I may need to find a new doctor. And let us pray for ourselves, that here together we will find our hope and our courage to be present in this world with all of its sorrow and beauty. That here together we can remember again there is no other. There is only us, upholding one another and also held in that larger love. So let us sit in quiet now and pray the prayers of our own hearts and listen to the sounds of the morning. There is no other. There is only us, and it is our generosity that sustains this congregation and allows us to do our work of deepening spiritually, taking care of each other, and being a blessing to this world. We truly cannot do this without all of us. So the morning offering will now be given and gratefully received. The choir will not be singing the song in your order of service, but Sean will play something no doubt beautiful.
just returned from my annual Bearing Witness retreat at the Auschwitz-Birkenau Memorial on the grounds of the former German Nazi concentration camp and extermination center in Auschwitz, Poland. We stay for about a week. It's a little over an hour outside of Krakow. I was relieved to come back and find democracy intact still, so thank you for that. And I confess that I'm in a bit of a pickle up here this morning because the podium and the format and all of the expectation of words and my primary experience at the retreat this year had almost nothing to do with words. It had everything to do with sensory information and deep emotion and experiences and movement and music and breath. So I'll be inviting us to breathe today during this. I told several people this week that all I wanted to do this morning was just kind of stand up here and sway and sing. And I did hear that for some folks that would work as a sermon. But I'm still an intern and my evaluation is on the line, so I'm not really singing out. Aaliyah joked that I should just offer a travelogue of my European vacation. My whole life I have been drawn to experience intense things. And I return to the ones that challenge and deepen and nourish and sustain me. And this retreat is one of them. I'm called to it. And it has become a central part of my spiritual practice. I carry it with me all year. And though many of us who go are called every year, and at the last night we always talk about how we go back home and everybody's like, you do what? And we get that and we can't quite explain it. And I'm also fairly certain that as many sermons as I get to write in my lifetime, every single one could easily be based just on these experiences. However, I have perhaps shrewdly deduced that that's maybe not such a good idea. The secret is that, in fact, this work, though, has deeply infiltrated everything I do, but I'm certainly not going to tell you that. So I'm looking for a bite-sized piece of this exquisite, tender, profound experience to reflect on today. And I asked Aaliyah what she was most curious about. And besides the European travelogue, she said, well, I want to know what a day in the retreat was like. And then I want one piece of something. So I'm pretty good at receiving wise counsel when it's offered. So this is what I'm attempting to put to words today. I will not say anything gory or explicit, and of course I recognize that a reflection like this has some hard facts about what happened at Auschwitz-Birkenau. So please take care of yourself. If you need to, I will not be offended on any level if you walk out, okay? You can always come back, but if you need a break, go, okay? We're singing I Am Willing at the end, if that helps. A familiar song that holds us and that has become an anthem for me for being willing to re-engage. So at the retreat, we sleep at the Center for Dialogue and Prayer, which is a beautiful, peaceful place made after the war for exactly this, for people who are visiting Auschwitz-Birkenau at time and again, not just for an afternoon. And it's within walking distance of the camps. I had 2 roommates this year. We had become friends at past retreats. One is German and the other is Polish. So a day in their life of the retreat starts at 6:15 in the morning. Koho, who's our Buddhist priest, walks up and down the halls ringing this absolutely intensely loud bell. And at 6:30 there's coffee and tea, and at 6:45 we're in our council groups, these small groups. And we sit in silence. We actually are supposed to stay in silence from when we wake through the first 20 minutes of council, which is meditation. So council, for those of you who have been involved in small group ministry here, is a bit like that format. My council this year had 9 people, including 2 facilitators, who also very much participated. And our folks were from Poland, Germany, Israel, Switzerland, Brazil, the Netherlands, United States, and the Cheyenne River Indian Reservation. We met every morning. Everything else is optional on the retreat, but council is required. We take turns listening to each other and addressing the question, what is most alive for me right now? So that's actually kind of a powerful question for all of us at any point. What is most alive for you right now? There's a lot to face when we're sitting at Auschwitz-Birkenau. What humans are capable of, what I'm capable of. We bear witness to each other, we watch what comes up, and we're as brave and honest as we can be. No crosstalk. The whole thing is set up, the whole retreat is set up, so all we have to do is the work of being there. The whole rest of your life is on hold. No screens, no internet, no work, no chores, no errands, no appointments. Just a supportive and safe container that the Zen peacemakers have honed and built and rebuilt for 27 years. So we build relationships fast, and we dive in deep. At 8:30, we go to breakfast together with all 50 people on the retreat. The first 20 minutes of breakfast are silent. And then we go to the memorial site, to Auschwitz-Birkenau. Most of the week we're at Birkenau. Some of us walk, some of us ride the bus, and we get there around 9:45. And where we gather in the morning sort of varies from day to day. But I'm going to tell you about a morning where we met outside and then inside a building that was cynically named the sauna. So when people arrived at Auschwitz-Birkenau, the vast majority of them were sent directly to gas chambers, directly to their death. And a few prisoners were selected to provide slave labor. And those folks went to the sauna, which was a place that systematically, programmatically humiliated and dehumanized people. That was the design. So as a group, we breathe, and we move through the building in the same order that the new arrivals did, learning what happened in each of the sections of that place. And people were registered, their luggage had already been gone. And here they had to turn over everything else. Everything else. Their clothes, their hair was all cut off. They lost everything, including their dignity in this place. And the last step was their name. So they were tattooed with a KZ number, usually on the arm, on the forearm. Auschwitz is the only place that did tattooing during the Holocaust. Survivors frequently describe this experience of arriving as having been shot from a catapult into another world. Just an entirely different world. All the rules were different. So just take a breath with me now. I have an Israeli friend, Neely, who was on the trip this year. Her mother, Sarah, was imprisoned at Auschwitz-Birkenau and survived. And she survived in no small part because of her friend, Lupa. And she and Lupa met in this very place, in this sauna. Sarah and Lupa supported each other the whole time they were there. They both survived. And Neely told lots of stories about her that her mom had told her. One of which was, whenever one of them, Sarah and Lupa, started not to look so good, the other one would like rub their cheeks and pinch them so they'd get a little color. And if somebody was so weak, they literally couldn't stand up when the guards were coming to decide who to take out, the other one would just stand next to him and just prop him up. So I invite us all to take a moment to think of who our Lupas have been in our lives. Who propped you up? Who held you up? We've all had people who held us up and people who hold us up now. When we need it most and when we don't even know we need it. So maybe send your gratitude to one or more of those people. May we all find our Lupas and be someone's Lupa. Supporting each other, because this life is hard. In the last room of this sauna building, there's an exhibit of hundreds of family photos that belong to prisoners. So we spend time with those, and then we sit in a big circle. And we do some singing and some praying, led by Rabbi David. A couple of years it was Rami, now it's David. And then we all walk to what was once this selection site itself. It's a big concrete platform between railroad tracks. So that's where the SS stood and selected people. Who's going to go to the sauna and become a laborer? Who looks healthy enough? And who's just not? So we make a big circle there. And we create in the center an altar. Flowers and candles, little things people brought. I have a stone that my friend Lisa gave me the first year I went, and I always put that in. And I brought little bottles of First Parish Groton holy water with me. And every day I blessed that box that held the names that we all brought. And I blessed other things there. David blows the shofar and we begin a period of meditation. So we're sitting in silence for maybe half an hour. Everybody in their own process. And then 4 people start at a time reading names. And we read from different official lists. We read all at the same time, so the names are just floating up together. Lots of us brought names. I brought names from this congregation and from other people I know. And then we have a break, 12:30 to 1:30. If anybody who wants to can go right outside the gates of the camp, and the folks from the Dialogue Center bring us hot soup, bread, and water. We don't ever bring any food or drink into the camp out of respect. But we can go out there and have something to eat if we want to. And after lunch, the program is basically usually sit and meditate and chant names all afternoon until maybe 4 or 4:30. But we're also free to go off on our own. Birkenau itself is 400 acres, miles of barbed wire and guard towers and muddy gravel roads and the remains of barracks and crematoria. And the place itself, challenges what I think I know when I get there. My most basic beliefs, the framework that I carefully construct around my life, becomes less than irrelevant. And that's the first tenet that we're asked to sit with. First tenet of the Zen Peacemakers is not knowing. Experiences unfold, senses and emotions in our bodies, and there's kind of a vastness of time. And I listen. I listen to the ground and to the voices in that terrible place that are now sometimes loud to me and sometimes silent. And I just don't know. And that instruction, like the explicit instruction, don't know. Try not to know. In fact, don't try to know. Yeah? It was such a relief to me. I can't explain it. I can't understand it. That's not the point. I get to be right-sized. I get to be Lee-sized. I don't know. So I have permission just to be permeable. Just to let it in and let it through. To experience the place through prayer. And there's one prayer that stays with me all week. It's not an easy one, but there it is. Open. Keep opening. Allow. So it's a deep surrender. And the place empties my pockets. It drains me of ideas. And when I'm in that place of no ideas, then I can actually engage with what the second tenet is, which is bearing witness. Bearing witness requires that what I'm witnessing means something to me, that has significance, that I'm not separating myself from it. To Ed's point in our chalice lighting, I bear witness to all of it, the whole thing. The folks who were imprisoned there, the folks who were perpetrators, the folks who stood by were bearing witness to ourselves as people who could have been in any of those roles. And it helps me come to terms with the selection site that's the most dangerous, which is the one that's in my mind. It's the one that tries to protect me from other. And the hope, of course, comes in the understanding of that, and that that's the one I can control. I can't change what happened there, but I can learn. I'm me, so I shed a lot of tears in a place like that. And they feel like they're not mine, and they're mine. They come through me. And I welcome them. So after we walk or bus back to the Dialogue Center at the end of the afternoon, we have maybe an hour before dinner. You can see the introverts off to their rooms, and they tend to curl up. You know who you are in this room, who you introverts feel like I'd be in my room. No. And the extroverts among us, that would be me, gather around cups of coffee and tea, and we bring big bars of chocolate to share. My theory is that the Harry Potter books had it right, that J.K. Rowling had it right, because when you face dementors, for those of you who follow these books, you have chocolate as the remedy. Chocolate is a remedy. We're going to have to keep Aaliyah's dementors away, because she's off chocolate, you all. No dementors in this corner. So dinner is a big, lively event. We've got tables of 6 or 7 traditional Polish food. And as people will do when they've been in a lot, we also have a lot of joy and a lot of energy. They balance each other. So then there's an evening thing that happens, different every night. And this night we go back to the barracks at night. This is special permission required. Nobody else is there. And we sit by candlelight. And we're invited to share on some topic. And it's profound to be there at night. And what people say is deep. So then when we get back from evening program, it's like 9, and the night owls do whatever night owls do. I don't understand them. I go to the chapel and I sing and pray for about 45 minutes before bed. This year I brought the 108 blessings with me that you all sent with me and other people in my life, and I read them every night. And they were something to hold on to. It was beautiful. The beds are terrible, but we're tired, and so we sleep anyway. And we're grateful, right, to have a clean, warm bed all to ourselves. One of the central prayers in Judaism was described to us by Rabbi David Curiel as the most holy prayer. This is the Shema. And the full version is 3 paragraphs, but we're just going to work with the first 6 words to sort of encapsulate the whole. I read somewhere that the 6-word memoirs that we did, that this is Judaism in 6 words. The Shema is one of the first prayers taught to children, and many folks recite it morning and night. And it goes like this. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Yeah, if you know it, every time I do it, sing it. Traditionally, people cover their eyes while I sing. So this first word, Shema, is listen, hear. Deep listening honors, deep listening respects, deep listening dignifies. Shema Israel. Israel is the people. In the Torah, Jacob spends a whole night wrestling with the divine. And after that night of wrestling, Jacob's name is changed to Israel. It just means the people, and Rabbi Wasko always said it was the people who wrestle with the divine. So, Shema Israel, listen, you who wrestle, you who question. Adonai Eloheinu. The first 4 letters in Hebrew that spell the word that means the bigger love, divinity, God, this unpronounceable thing. It's actually unpronounceable. In English, it's roughly the equivalent of YHWH. No vowels. So the sound of that itself is actually closest to breath. So there's lots of metaphors that point to this awesome, ungraspable life force. God, Adonai is one of those metaphors. It's sometimes translated as Lord, but it's so much bigger than that. So Eloheinu, in mystical thought, is this experience of divinity that we feel, that we breathe, like nature, like love, like connection. It's divinity that we breathe. It's both larger than us and as close as our breath. And that's what the mystics will teach you. It's both. And then this last line, Adonai Echad. Adonai is a repeat of this unpronounceable. And Echad is one. So that can mean one God. It can mean divinity that's singular, utterly unique. It can mean this unnameable thing is one, it's a unity, that we're all part of it, that everything's interconnected. So Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Listen, you, each of you who wrestle with divinity. This Yod-Heh Vav-Heh, this indefinable, unpronounceable, transcendent life force, divinity, nature, love, breath, is interconnected. And no one is outside of it. And it starts to sound a lot like Universalist theology. So we're going to go back for just a moment and touch on that process of systematic dehumanization and disrespect that folks went through at the Sana. And at the end, they lost their names. And our names are so important. So in your pew, on the aisle side, there's a few pieces of paper. And there should be about 3 in each pew. And if you're willing, you don't have to, but each of them has a photo and the name of somebody who lost their life in this place. So if it feels okay to you right now, you can pass. Just see if you can connect with one of them. We can't understand 1.4 million people. We can understand one. And maybe you can make out the name on that piece of paper, or maybe somebody near you has younger eyes. If you need help, ask for it. Maybe try and hear it in your head. Take your best guess at pronouncing it. Okay? And anyone who wants to, we're just going to say the word Shema and then the name of your person with your deepest respect. So if mine is Elsa, I would say, Shema Elsa. Shema Elsa. So we're going to do it all at the same time. Just let it out, all right? Shema Elsa. Shema Elsa. Shema Elsa. And then consider for a moment your own name, or maybe some name of someone you love. And just say in your head or out loud, Shema for yourself, for your own name, and for this person you love. do it in Black Lives Matter. We do it at Trans Day of Remembrance. We bring back names. It's important. Every day at retreat, we sat and we brought names, and you sent names with me, some of you. And when we're touched by respect, it moves us. And when this is hard, it's because we're alive. It's because we love. Let it be a little hard. This is one of the ways we counter disrespect. We're willing to feel and offer profound respect in response to our own emotion. Jewish Ukrainian poet, usually just goes by Zelda. Her last name was Mishikovsky. Wrote a piece that goes like this in part. Each of us has a name given by God and given by our parents. Each of us has a name given by our stature and by our smile and given by what we wear. Each of us has a name given by the mountains and given by our walls. Each of us has a name given by the stars and given by our neighbors. Each of us has a name given by our longing and given by our love. And each of us has a name given by our celebrations and given by our work. So wear your name tags and say each other's names with respect. And find what your promise is, your promise to humanity. Find where and how you can be a blessing to this world. And then practice. Practice. And practice re-engaging with life. Music is one of the ways we re-engage with life. I come here in the evenings and I feel all the things from the day until I am willing to sing, I am willing. This is Holly Mears' song. And I sing it here every night as I walk figure eights in the sanctuary. And I think of you all, some of you who sit in the same place over and over, I can picture you. And I just sing, I am willing here in the dark by myself with just candles. And it's my way of saying, all right, that day was hard and I'm still here. I'm still here. And starting that has helped me rest like nothing else. So if Sean would lead us in I am willing, we would be grateful and hopefully willing. Rise as you are able. Let the music in. Let it move you. Move your body if you can while you sing. It'll help. I promise.
Seems so strange.
There is no other. There is only us. We are tied together by such strong and sturdy threads of love. Go in peace. Find your promise. Be a blessing.
Thank you.